Mycotoxins? LOQ? Monocytogens. What the heck am I even looking at? If you've ever purchased a hemp-based product, you've probably noticed that little QR code on the bottle. This QR code links to what's called a COA, Certificate of Analysis. They look like this. Every hemp-based product needs to have one of these. It proves that the product is under 0.3% delta-9 THC by dry weight, which is important because that's where the law draws the line federally between hemp and marijuana. This is the only thing that's required out of a COA to be federally compliant. However, a good COA is going to test for many more things besides just the THC content of a product. These COAs also test for other cannabinoid profiles that let you know exactly how much CBD, delta-8, CBN, CBG, whatever else they're looking for in that particular thing. Above that, a good COA is also going to test for things such as heavy metals, residual solvents, pesticides, and a bunch of other stuff that could be harmful to your health. But a COA is a lab report. It has a bunch of scientific jargon on it, numbers, things that the average person doesn't even know how to look at. So today I want to go through a COA and show you exactly what you're looking for, how to read it, and what these numbers and jargon mean. Just remember that every laboratory does their testing just a little bit differently. We're going to be going over Hometown Heroes Blueberry Delta-8 gummies in this video, but if you have a COA that doesn't look exactly like this, just know that it's differences between labs. If you'd like to follow along, I'm going to leave a link to this lab report in the description below. The first thing you're going to want to look for on a COA is right at the top of the page. This is going to have the name of the lab, its address, and any licensing details. If you ever come across a COA that may not seem reputable, you can always go onto their website or you can Google around for it, make sure the address lines up with the name, and see what their standards are and how they test for things. You can also find any of their licensing information, documentation, accreditations on their site as well. The next thing on the COA is going to say the company and the product that is being tested and when it was tested. After that, it's going to tell you basic pass-fail and if it tested for anything else and if it failed or passed on any of that. Hometown Heroes Blueberry Delta-8 gummies also tested for heavy metals, mycotoxins, pesticides, residual solvents, pathogenic microbiology, and Listeria monocytogens. Below that, you'll find a list of cannabinoids and how much of each one is found in the product. There are 3 numbers to pay attention to here: the LOQ, the result, and the percentage. LOQ stands for limit of quantitation. This is the lowest level at which the laboratory can test reliably. With an LOQ of 0.001, it means that any results that come in below this number are not reliable. If you take the Blueberry Gummy COA, for instance, you'll see that the LOQ is 0.001 and the percentage came back at 0.477. This is 4.772 milligrams per gram. Because these gummies don't have any delta-10 in them, you'll see that the result is under LOQ or less than LOQ, the little alligator sign. Every cannabinoid after delta-10 also has a less than LOQ sign, meaning that there weren't any meaningful amounts of any of the other cannabinoids found in these gummies. The next page of the COA contains the heavy metals report and the mycotoxins report. You'll see that this has the same LOQ and result as the previous page, but it has one additional measurement on it, and that's the action level. The action level is the maximum safe amount that can be contained within the product. This lab tested for arsenic, lead, cadmium, and mercury. All of them are below LOQ. Mycotoxins are the result of mold and fungus. Any hemp that is left out or old or been sitting in a field too long or just contaminated can contain mycotoxins. On the third page, we have pesticides. As you can see, there are a lot of pesticides being tested here. Pesticides can be harmful to your health if they are not properly washed off a plant or removed during the extraction process. Every pesticide that was tested for in these results came back under LOQ. On page 4 of the COA, we have residual solvents. Unless you're buying raw hemp flower, every cannabinoid found in products is extracted from hemp. Depending on the extraction method, this can leave residual solvents. There are a lot of different extraction methods, which is why there are so many solvents found on this page. Hometown Hero only uses extraction facilities that use beverage-grade CO2, or carbon dioxide. This extraction method is the same one used to make organic decaf coffee, and the CO2 is the same one that you'll find in your soda stream. The great thing about the CO2 extraction method is that once the process is over and everything is depressurized, the CO2 just evaporates off of it, leaving nothing behind. This is why you'll see the result is less than LOQ for every solvent tested for. On the last page, you'll see pathogenic microbiology and Listeria monocytogens. That might sound confusing, but it's just bacteria that can make you sick. You'll recognize names like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria. These bacteria are all known for giving food poisoning. As you can see, all of these are absent 1 gram, essentially the equivalent of below LOQ. The final thing to point out on these COAs is the footer. There are 2 very important things to point out within the footer. First are the people who signed off on these results. In this case, it's the lab toxicologist and the lab director. The second is the list of accreditations that this lab has. If you ever have any questions about the reputableness of a lab, make sure to check these accreditations for yourself. With all of that information, here are a couple things to look out for. The first is to make sure that they actually have a COA. Not only does this confirm that the product they're selling you is actually what they tell you it is, but it also makes sure that the product is below the legal limit of 0.3% delta-9 THC. The second thing to look for is inconsistent formatting. If punctuation, spacing, spelling, these kind of things are off, it could be a faked COA. Many labs have samples of their COAs on their website. Anybody could take these and just plop whatever information they want into it and stick it on a product. If you ever come across a suspicious looking COA, make sure to call the lab in the top corner. They're going to be able to tell you if those products were tested at that facility. The next thing to look for is the reputability of the lab. What are the lab's accreditations? Does it have a ghost address, or is the address listed on the COA the actual address of the facility? They can register their business at that location, but not actually do any testing out of that address if they're doing testing at all. In the example COA, if you put in ACS Laboratories' address into Google Maps, you'll see they pull up exactly where they say they will. At Hometown Hero, we want to make sure that all of our products are the safest and highest quality that they can be. This is why we went the extra mile with our lab testing. We went with a DEA certified lab that tests for everything. When you purchase a Hometown Hero product, you can rest assured that it's going to be the highest quality and exactly as advertised. I hope this video was helpful. Even if you're not purchasing a Hometown Hero product, we want you to be safe and informed. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to leave a comment or contact us at store@hometownhero.com and we can answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.